So here's my pot and my pan that I'm going to use for my double broiler. You can use any pan with a heat safe bowl. I've got this double broiler which works really well, and I bought it off Amazon. It's inexpensive. I think it was $10. I'm going to put my ingredients in here. So the first thing we're going to need is the beeswax. So I'm going to get 2 tablespoons of beeswax. Well, that's not going to work. You can weigh out these ingredients. I'll give you the weights and the measurements, whether you're using tablespoons or whether you want to use grams, but you don't have to have a scale to make this. You want to measure your beeswax first. This is my coconut oil, sorry, not butter. I just want 1 tablespoon. And then I need 1 tablespoon of mango butter. So this is my mango butter. I had it when I was making lotion, so I'm just going to use what I have on hand. So I've got my 2 parts wax, 1 part butter, 1 part coconut oil, and I'm going to put water in my pan now and simmer these down until they're melted. I was going to show you, this is what the mango butter looks like when you buy it. I bought it from Amazon. It is solid at room temperature. It works really great for lotions and chapsticks. The coconut oil, you can buy it anywhere. You just want the one that is solid at room temperature. They make a coconut oil that's not solid. You want the one that gets solid. And for the beeswax, any beeswax will work. This is what's going to keep it solid enough that we can screw the tube up and get the chapstick out. It also helps protect your lips in the winter. So right now we're having very cold weather and a lot of wind, so that's what got me in the mood to make chapstick. When we get this melted, we're going to test it first to make sure that it's not too waxy or not too oily. So when I get it melted, we'll try it on the skin and see what it feels like. And then if it's too thin, we can add a little bit more wax, or if it's too thick, we can add a little bit more of the coconut oil or the shea butter. So this is my first time doing this on the hot plate. Normally I do it on the kitchen stove, and this little hot plate is so slow to getting up to temperature. And the beeswax is taking forever to melt. I may have to move it over to the stove to get my temperature up. It doesn't have to be very hot. Let me get the thermometer and see what the temperature is. So it's about 172 degrees. So it's not extremely warm. That's what temperature it took to get all of the beeswax melted. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my stove here. If we need to, if this cools down too fast, you can always stick it back in the water and warm up, because it seems like it'll start to stick to the bottom of the pan before you get them all poured. So you may have to sit it back down in the water and remelt it, because it does set up pretty fast. So the next thing we're going to do is put in the flavoring drops, and we'll put some mica in these to color them. So I think I'll put the peppermint in these. We'll start out with 10 or 12 drops. That's 10 drops. We'll see how that tastes and see if that's enough. And the mica, I think I'll put just a little bit of the pink mica in to give it some color, but not enough to color your lips, just enough to color the lip balm when it goes into the tube so it looks pretty. You don't have to have the mica or the flavoring because this is just perfect chapstick lip balm on its own. So you don't have to have any of those, of the color or the flavor. That's just something I add to it. And you got a lot of choices. So I think I'll just put a little bit of this fuchsia color in there. That should be more than enough. Takes a little bit of stirring because it's a dry powder. Just make sure it's lip safe. Get a cosmetic grade mica. That looks good. So now we're going to pour it into the lip balm tubes. And like I said, you can purchase those tubes. You can get 50 tubes on Amazon for $10, which will last you all winter, I'm sure. Now I'm going to pour it into the tubes. I promised we'd test it first. I almost forgot that. I was going to pour it in the tubes before testing. What you want to do is get a spoon that is cold, so run it under some cold water. And so what we're going to do is just get enough to test it. And you can see how it goes solid really quick. Now what you want to do is just to test that and to see if it is just right or if it's too stiff. You can tell by this it's too stiff. It's heavy on the wax and it's not going to come off on the lips easy. So we're going to need to add a little bit more of the coconut oil or the mango butter. I'm going to add, I could also add the almond oil. That would soften it up some, but I think I'm just going to put a half of a tablespoon of coconut oil in it for right now. And you want to adjust this before you get it in your tubes, because like I almost did, I almost poured it in the tubes without testing it, and it would have been way too solid. So let's put that in there and melt it. There's really no way you can go wrong with this. Just test it before you get it in your tubes to make sure it's a perfect consistency. So I'm going to stir that until it melts, and then we'll try testing it again. All right, I ran the spoon under cold water, so we're just going to dip it and get enough and let it set, and then we'll test it again. Yeah, that's much softer. See how that breaks up? That'll actually smooth out on the lips, much softer. But still not so soft it won't push up in the tube. All right, so now we're going to take this and put it in the tubes. So there's two ways to put this in the tube. There's probably more than two ways. I generally just pour it directly into the tube. This has a pour spout on the side of it. But you can also use these, which these are just little droppers. They're plastic droppers, so you can actually slurp this up, because like I said, it's only 172 degrees when it is completely melted, and you can just put it directly into the tube that way. Or you can pour it, which I'm going to try to pour it. So let me see if the camera's close enough. Yeah. All right, I've got enough for about one more, and I'll save the rest of it to top them off when they cool. All right, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is made 10. So that was 2 tablespoons of beeswax, 1.5 tablespoons of coconut oil, and 1 tablespoon of the mango butter. If you have shea butter or coconut butter, just use whichever one that you choose. I know a lot of people like shea butter. As I was telling you, this can get hard really quickly. See how it's set up in the pan already? So I'm just going to drop it back into the hot water and let that melt so that it'll melt fairly quickly. It doesn't take as long as the first time. And we'll use that to top off any of these that aren't completely full or that shrink back. This is a really good way to start making your own skincare products because it's so simple. It's a good starter point. I've made homemade lotions, homemade soaps, and other products, but this one is by far the most beginner friendly to start on. See how quickly that little bit dissolved? All right, we're going to go ahead and top off the rest of these. You can see the divot in the first one where it's already getting hard and there's a little divot there. So I'm going to just use this and put a few drops on top to level it out. Oh, I believe it's already got hard it did. It already got hard in the inside of the syringe that I was using. So I'm not sure I'm going to like the syringe. I think pouring is going to be the best way. Let me remelt that and I will top those off. And just want a few drops. And you wouldn't have to do this. You could always just use a blow dryer to smooth them out on the top. That's getting solid again inside of my pan. So let's test these. Let's look at this one and let's smell it. Yeah, you can definitely smell the peppermint. It's not too much. So let me try it and see how it's going to work. Yeah, it's not too pink. It's a little pink. And yeah, that's very soft. That's going to be perfect on our lips this winter. All right, so that's got it.